In this video, we are going to be recapping the NFL playoffs, both of the one seeds advancing to the NFC Championship game. And, oh God, the Packers really messed up here. In the case of the Texans, it's hard to say what really went wrong because so many things went wrong because their loss, as you can see, was a blowout. But the 49ers barely beat the Packers, and the Packers really had a chance to get back into that game. So we still have the Chiefs-Bills game. We still have the Lions-Buccaneers game. However, it's guaranteed the Ravens and 49ers will host an AFC Championship game. And for the Ravens, it's their first ever time hosting an AFC Championship game. So again, the winner of the Kansas City Buffalo game will be traveling to Baltimore to face the Ravens. The winner of the Buccaneers Lions game will be traveling to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. This puts both of them in a great position to both make the Super Bowl. Last year, again, both of the one seeds made the Super Bowl. Actually, if you look at last year, it was 1 and 2 in the NFC Championship and 1 and 3 in the AFC Championship. Now, what is real on the AFC? It was the exact same seeds that moved on 1, 2, 3, 4. No wild card teams moved on. So if that holds, Buffalo loses again in the divisional round. This time to the Chiefs. We already saw the 1 seed beat the 4 seed in that, and then in the AFC Championship game, the Chiefs would lose to the Ravens. In this case, for the NFC Championship, it's a little bit different because last year it was 1, 2, 5, and 6. This year it's 1, 3, 4, 7. But again, we saw the 1 seed in that year was Philadelphia taking care of the Giants, and the 49ers took care of Dallas. That was a 2 and 5 game. This time it would be 3 and 4. So if that were to hold, the closest comparison is the Lions do beat the Bucs, and then it would fall to the 49ers shy of their first ever Super Bowl. And I'm telling you, if you're a Lions fan, you really wanted the Packers to win. Yes, the Packers are a division rival, but the Packers winning would give you a home game in the NFC Championship game if you won the divisional. Because the Packers lost, you don't get that. And now we have the 1 seed taking on the 1 seed. So, again, if that holds out, we would see a Baltimore-San Francisco Super Bowl. Baltimore would probably win such a Super Bowl, but it'll be pretty heartbreaking considering that the Bills have never won a Super Bowl before. The Lions have never even been to a Super Bowl before. We already saw the Browns and Texans fail to make it this year. So again, it just would be nice to see struggling teams have success. And again, the Packers loss is going to make it hard for the one team that still has that chance. And of course, Buffalo has never won a Super Bowl either. But again, winning a Super Bowl isn't even the same as making a Super Bowl. A Lions fan will be happy with simply making a Super Bowl, whereas for a Bills fan, they want to win one, considering how they lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. That's a historic bad performance in the Super Bowl. Historic bad performance in the Super Bowl. Now, again, we're coming back here to the playoffs. So first I want to analyze the Ravens versus the Texans game. Ravens versus Texans. The Texans lost to Baltimore. The Ravens scored first on a 53-yard field goal. The Texans got their 53-yard field goal. The Ravens got a touchdown to make it 10-3. Then the Texans got a 67-yard punt return touchdown. Lamar Jackson actually got 2 rushing touchdowns, and he also threw to 2 people. And then the Ravens got a field goal. It was just total domination by Baltimore, especially because Baltimore was able to effectively use the run game, whereas they weren't. Penalties were also a factor. I don't want to say that the Texans were unfairly penalized, but Baltimore might have gotten some ref help considering how they only got 3 penalties. The Texans got 11. There was a penalty called on Baltimore that was declined, and that's not factored in here because declined a penalty forced them to punt. There were no turnovers, except for the Texans who got a turnover on downs. The Ravens converted both of their fourth downs. Their third down efficiency was both 4 for 12, and look at how much fewer first downs the Texans got than the Ravens. Their offense scored 3 points because 7 of their points came from special teams. Arguably, the field goal itself came from special teams, but I'll give it to the offense. But the punt return, that was entirely special teams. So if we go to the Wikipedia article, we can find the game book here. We can find the game book and analyze this game a little bit further. When you look at the recap of the game, what you see is that the Texans were forced to punt. It was actually a 3 and out. And in the Ravens, they scored a field goal because even though they were able to get from 3rd and 12 to 4th and 3, they couldn't get it, but they were at the Houston 34-yard line, so not a long field goal. Pretty much a chip shot with Justin Tucker. Justin Tucker is like the one kicker who can make a field goal, and I'll say to you later how penalties took the Texans out of field goal range and made them punt because it took them from the 32 to the 47. If it was at the 47, the Ravens might have actually legitimately had a field goal. The Ravens can hit from 47 yards out, which would be like a 65-yard field goal, but Justin Tucker can do that. No other NFL kicker can. Again, kickers in their range have a huge impact on NFL games because it determines whether or not the team can, Now, the Texans had to punt again because, again, they had all these penalties. In this singular play, they actually wound up getting penalized for 20 yards. I don't want to say this totally tipped the game over, but if the Texans had been able to get a field goal here, that instead of punt, that could have changed the entire complexion of the game. Again, am I going to say it was ref interference? Probably not, because the intentional grounding penalty seemed real, but and again, when you analyze penalties, it's hard to say who the refs help, but it's suspicious because, again, they faced 4th and 21 to Baltimore 47. Without those penalties, it would have been 4th and 6 to Baltimore 32. Without the false start, they would have been at the Baltimore 27. It would have been an easy field goal, but they instead got pushed out of field goal range because of penalties. You don't if you're really far out of range for a kicker, you don't want to have them kick a field goal because if it goes left or right, then it's pretty much a touchback. But if it comes up short, the other team can return it potentially for a touchdown if no one can stop them. The Ravens, though, they got a 3 and out. Yeah. Then the Texans got a field goal. Again, they were able to drill down the field, and even with penalties, it only put them from the 27 to the 32. So again, they can make a field goal to 32. Second quarter, the Ravens, they got a touchdown. The Texans had to punt again. I don't know why they punted 4th and 1. 4th and 1 at the own 33-yard line can get tricky because you're obviously way too far away to kick a field goal because that would be an 85-yard attempt. You're way too far to get a field goal. But 4th and 1, I mean, should you attempt to convert 4th and 1 at your own 33-yard line? And again, they're going to say to go for it. They always say for 4th and 1 to go for it, even if you are 91 yards away. If you have 4th and 1, 4th and 1, you always go for it. Now 4th and 2, if you are like in your own territory, you don't want to go for it. If you're facing a 4th and 2, and the more yards to go, the more they say. They usually say that if you're in the middle of the field, from like around the 30 yards the end zone to around 45, you be more aggressive and go for it, all the way up to um a 4th and 7. Just because that's kind of the tricky spot of where you're not quite in field goal range. If you punt it, it's likely to be a touchback. So you really have to only make the decision when it's like 4th and 8, when, again, 40 yards to go to the end zone is what it is. But obviously, if you're closer, then you go for a field goal until you just get like really close to the end zone. That was a shot, but as you can see, 4th and 1, you should always go for it. In this case, the Texans at 67 yards to the end zone, they should go for it because it has a high enough successing rate that's always worth it to try to keep the drive alive. Um, and so yeah, that's why you don't want to that's why you don't want to punt the ball away because you can't even get the ball to go that deep. You can't even get the ball to go that deep, and this 4th and 1, you never punt the ball away because again a ton of on downs, it would have put the Ravens into field goal range. They would have been able to get that field goal. You don't want that. But you want to be able to keep your drive alive, and the chance of a 4th and 1 failing are about 30%. Then you have the Texans touchdown, which again is because the Ravens have to go 3 and out at their own 22-yard line. They punt the ball to the Houston 33, and then again, this is where the special teams runs it in for a touchdown. The Ravens went 3 and out, and then the Texans had a missed field goal from 47 yards. It was wide right when they faced the 4th and 8. But then the Ravens went 3 and out when they faced the 4th and 20. That's because Lamar Jackson got sacked twice. But then in the third quarter, the Ravens scored a touchdown. The Texans went. They didn't go quite 3 and out, but again, they're only 39. Their pass went for negative yards, and then they faced a 4th and 14 at the Baltimore 43. Justin Tucker would have probably made a field goal, but especially if you just missed a field goal from at the 29, you don't want to go for it at the 43. The Ravens then quickly got their touchdown. The Texans were forced to punt again. Practically, a 3 and out again. The Ravens, they got their touchdown. The Texans turned the ball over on downs at their own 33-yard line, which held the Ravens to a field goal because they actually effectively would have gone 3 and out here. Oh, well, no, they got down, but again. And then the quarter ended because they had 1st and 10 at the Houston 44, and then the clock pretty much ran out. Now, Packers versus 49ers is a bit of a different game because Ravens-Texans was a good game in the first half before the Ravens ran away with the lead. In this case, it was a good game throughout. Neither team ever had a lead of more than one possession. Neither team. The Packers get a field goal to start 3-0, and this is the first game in which a team that scores first does not pull away with a win. 49ers get 7-3, and then the 7-6 after a Packers field goal. Then they actually block a field goal, get to that, but then the Packers, of course, miss theirs, so it cancels out. Packers make it 13-7 from an 18-yard pass, but then a 39-yard run makes it 14-13 in favor of the 49ers. Packers get a touchdown and score a 2-point conversion, make it 21-14. But then a field goal from Jake Moody makes it 21-17. And then after this field goal, the 49ers are able to get a touchdown, make it 24-21. And then they get intercepted. In this case, Abdul Love in his last 9 games or whatever only got 1 pick. This game he got 2 picks. Packers had a lot less penalties than the 49ers. The 49ers had to punt the ball away more, and they allowed more sacks. Most of the stats here are actually relatively equal, but again, it's those 2 interceptions that are really costly. Plus, you also have that missed field goal. So you look at the recap of this game, and what you see is you see a field goal. It takes 7 minutes and 38 seconds. Then the 49ers have to punt the ball away. They really can't get the ball out of their own half, but then the Packers turn the ball over on downs. 4th and 1 at the San Francisco 14-yard line. You go for it here because if you go for a field goal, it's 3 points, but it's only 3 points. I mean, in this case, it actually would have tipped the game, but then again, the 49ers could have just went for a 2-point conversion at the end if they wanted to make it 25-24. Though if they failed, it would steal the win for Green Bay. So they might have instead kicked the extra point. You kind of want to do what the Lions did against the Cowboys and have that whole debacle in a playoff game because that 2-point conversion could be whether you go home or whatnot. I actually really thought this game was going to go into OT when the Packers got the ball back for what it's worth. I really thought the game would go to OT. We've not seen an OT playoff game since 13 seconds, which is 2 years ago. Then the 49ers, they get a touchdown, and the Packers are forced to settle for a field goal after facing 4th and 11 at the San Francisco 11-yard line. But then the 49ers have their field goal blocked. They get to the Green Bay 30, and they have a 48-yard field goal, but it's blocked. And then the Packers just kneel at the clock. Then they force a quick 3-and-out on the 49ers. And then the Packers, they score a touchdown after only 4 minutes. So, again, quick drive. The 49ers score a touchdown, though, in only 2 minutes. Again, a big CMC run. You have a 32-yard pass and then a 39-yard run that gets them the touchdown. Green Bay then gets a touchdown in just 2 minutes, and a 2-point conversion attempt succeeds. The 49ers are forced to punt the ball away, and this is where people really think the Packers could get it. Again, this is a 3-and-out kind of scenario. The only problem is, though, for the Packers, they got picked. 3rd and 11 at the Green Bay 48-yard line, and a questionable pass, and it actually winds up getting intercepted. And then they run 7 yards. From the San Francisco 47 to the Green Bay 48. So actually, and that's actually where the pass started, at the Green Bay 48. But then they held the 49ers to a field goal, which is good. Facing 4th and 9 at the Green Bay 40-yard line, unfortunately, the Packers are forced to punt as they face a 4th and 2 at their own 33-yard line at just a minute and a half. But the 49ers can punt the ball away too. Again, facing 4th and 10 at the Green Bay 40. This is where that missed field goal comes in. They're facing 4th and 9 at the San Francisco 23-yard line. This should be an easy field goal, but it misses wide left. It was only 41 yards too. That field goal miss, it was very costly. Because had they gotten a field goal, it would have been 24-17 ball game, and the 49ers would have to set out to force overtime in that game. Or they would have had to again, do that 2-point conversion to determine to win or lose. And obviously, the game could still continue if they went because they had a minute and 7 seconds. The Packers could have won. The 49ers, if they got the interception, would have won. But the Packers probably would not have had to have played as aggressive there. Again, 5-minute drive that ends in a touchdown. And this is where the Packers get picked off. They throw they throw a pass intended for Watson, but it gets intercepted by Greenlaw again. From the Green Bay 36, it gets intercepted at San Francisco 42. Then he runs to the Green Bay 40. The reason why he would run to the Green Bay 40 is because the Packers have 2 timeouts. They can make it a game if they want to, but obviously, if they can, the closer they get, the harder it is for them to make a game out of it, and they actually wound up kneeling at the clock. I don't know why the Packers wouldn't call a timeout there, but yeah, that was an incredibly disappointing game for the Packers. They really should have had that game. That game. What just happened? That game really should have ended in a Packers victory. So, so the Bucks line's favorite right now. They are having the Lions win this game. As for Bills Chiefs favorite, the favorite as of now is currently still Buffalo.